Who is that guy/girl you work with? I took the liberty of guy. You come back from lunch and your desk is cleared of the project you've been working on. You run to the bathroom and find your freshly poured coffee replaced with your washed, empty mug. As you dare to say what the hell, he comes around the corner of your cube. I took the liberty of straightening up your work area. And gleefully moves on to ruin someone else's afternoon. Edit. This can also be called the helperton. That's when you go into his office and take the liberty of turning every single thing upside down. Work with a woman who repeats having fun yet? Almost every hour of the shift. Does she also say another day in paradise? And TGIF. There is this one man in the office, I'll call him Tim. Tim is a very elderly and angry man, known for this woman's cardigan he wears every day as well as his many heated conversations of which the snippets are pure gold. Last week out of the blue he proclaims he was up to his knees in blood while on a phone call. Yesterday he said he would rather be doing blow down the streets of New York. One of my favorites included, sometimes in life you're the chip, sometimes you're the dip. I love and fear Tim. At a group lunch, he claimed not to have cash and took everyone else's money and paid with his credit card. We later learned that he didn't pay at all, and pocketed the extra cash meant for the waitress tip. Classic Creed. A salesman who occasionally comes through and hassles us. The first time he asked what I was working on, I didn't realize what he was up to. I thought he needed help with something, and of course I'm glad to help. He keeps asking things like, "You're not busy? You don't have anything going on?" It seemed odd how many times he asked, but still I'm thinking he wants help, is trying to be polite, and is worried he is interrupting me. I get started on what he asks and he leaves. Next thing I know my boss arrives asking why I said I have nothing to do. Thankfully my boss is pretty cool, so nothing bad happened. That salesman is not our boss or even in our department, yet he occasionally comes through checking on us and asking things like, why does the job take 2 people? He's such a prick. There's a dude that watches videos of God knows what and screams along to them. I think he's watching wrestling or maybe boxing or something, because every now and then he'll just shout, "Oh, put him in a body bag," or "Oh queen bee," and start dusting off his hands loudly and laughing. It's fucking bizarre. Probably watching the latest on World Star. The guy that I work with has only one eye and can drive a forklift better than I ever could with 2. Great guy too. But how does he wink at cute girls while he's forklifting? Every single day he comes in and spews some bullshit. He just invested another $175,000 in some property. He just had a genius moment on the way into work and will now be able to solve the energy crisis. He just met some famous smart person, like Elon Musk, who said he was the smartest person he ever met. This isn't occasionally, this is all the time, literally every single day. You could even talk with this guy, it's so irritating. He follows me everywhere, and you try to have some normal conversation and he just spews more bullshit. I tried talking with him once, and said, "Well, my car has this thing going on with it, I may need to take it to the shop." He replies with, "Oh, that reminds me, my boyfriend is having the Lamborghini dealer come over tonight, Hess having a midlife crisis, but work just gave him another $2 million bonus because Hess such an amazing architect." Duck this guy. My old coworker. I couldn't tell if he was a mad genius or a man-child. I have not and will not meet anyone else in my life who is anything like this guy. He was so American that he told me he would show up to my birthday party in a Stars and Stripes banana hammock cawing like an eagle. He moved before my birthday, or I think he would have. Took the fan and some wires out of a recycled PC. He somehow found a D battery somewhere and hooked up the wires so the fan would run. He would lightly fan people as they worked, sometimes right in front of customers. "You nice and cool yet?" Drafted and made a falcon talon on the end of a magnetic tentacle. The talon is a phone holder. He has a patent and is marketing it soon. There's also a version with a monkey tail on the end of a raptor jaw. He put a rubber band ball on a paperclip, then impaled it to the ceiling of the break room. Turned on the strobe function on his phone's flashlight, and opened a Pandora Club playlist. Told everyone they deserved a disco party and would shriek when someone started to take it down. Hugged an old man who went off on another coworker because he just needs a friend. Strategically planned out how to travel from the front of the store to the back using only the rafters. A section of it, he needed to turn into a liquid. He drew a diagram. Printed a bunch of rebel flags on the store printer and gave them to our black supervisor, saying she needed to hand them out to preserve his heritage. He was so Southern and completely sarcastic. Printed a banner-size check made out to him for $1 million. Subject was winner for biggest poop. Plenty more too. I just can't keep them all straight. I miss that guy. I'm a waiter, and one of my coworkers is an Italian old man that is so close to retirement that he doesn't care anymore. He pretends to pee into wine bucket by turning his back at the customers and emptying a water bottle in them. He pranks calls the restaurant by calling and going, "Go duck yourself," before hanging up. Smokes constantly and is never on time. Sounds like a delightful man. I have no idea if I would laugh or not at the peeing thing. I don't work there anymore, but when I was a delivery driver for a pizza company there was a guy who just didn't give a duck. The boss had the hots for him, so he got away with so much shit. Never arrived when he was supposed to, always got to go home on time, or early if he wanted, even if we were completely backed up. Whenever he closed, he never cleaned in the back kitchen, so instead of firing him, his shifts got changed to opens. He would take random breaks and play guitar and sing loudly about getting drunk and smoking weed in the storeroom. Loud enough for customers to hear. At one stage he even pissed on the floor in the room where we made the dough. After a few months he went on holiday. He never came back, but his name was always on the roster. The stories I have about that place are amazing. I'm thankful I don't work there anymore, but also glad that I did. Oh, you mean Mr. Click Clicky Clickety Click Click Pen guy? That's me. I'm so sorry. It became a habit because of stupid Boris from GoldenEye. I'm invincible. I work in an office. I have a older lady, 45 to 50, next to me who says awesome sauce at least 5 times a day. I am thinking about quitting because of that. Bring a flask of liquor to work. Every time she says awesome sauce yell out whoop there it is and take a swig. Pretend like it's normal and never explain why. She'll either stop saying it or you'll get so drunk you stop caring. Either way, mission success. One for greatest idea ever. The guy who eats several hard-boiled eggs every morning for breakfast. In an open cube environment. The smell is somehow worse on Monday mornings. Is he, perhaps, eating 4 dozen eggs? If so, he might just be trying to get large. But beware, once he's grown that number will jump to 5 dozen eggs. Naturally, he'll become approximately the size of a flat-bottomed river vessel. Edit, obligatory post thanking anonymous stranger for gilding a comment about Gaston and eggs. Thanks. Whenever he wants to say something, he pauses in the middle of the sentence, like he's waiting for you to react to every bit of information. So, my son was watching Netflix pauses for 4 seconds, eye contact all the time and he told to join him pauses again to start watching Jessica Jones. He usually do it with a glass of water, and take a sip during the pauses. It's good to know Stevie from Malcolm in the Middle is doing okay and holding down a job though. I like all my co-workers. The woman I couldn't stand was HR from corporate. She was here for a week and I could not wait for her to leave. She made sure that we knew she did not care about me and the other lady, both temporary employees, even though we're likely to be hired. She would not stop talking about how she's single and men were hitting on her in all the countries she had visited on her vacation. She constantly talked about how she's trying to lose weight but kept eating the fattiest shit I've seen, all while complaining about America's eating habits. She took over our marketing manager's office for the week because she was too lonely in the back area. Sorry, the graphic designer and I are busy working. She would not shut the duck up about shopping. She did not understand that I do not have extra money to spend. She cooked horrible smelling fish in the microwave, then proceeded to burn some popcorn later. She kept stealing all my soft Kleenexes I brought from home. She canceled our work Halloween party, vertical bar. Good lord, was she unpleasant. Edit, apparently I live in a TV show and no one told me. When I was in the Air Force, there were plenty of these types of people, but there was one legend who will outlive them all. Let's call him Vic. Vic was in his late 30s maybe, balding, overweight, annoying, and generally the worst NCO, non-commissioned officer, the US Air Force ever saw. Here's a list of his accomplishments. Vic routinely practiced terrible weapon discipline. He would constantly have his weapon pointed at you. He couldn't even clear his weapon to enter the chow hall. A Marine had to do it for him. I had never been so embarrassed to be an airman in all my service. Vic somehow came back to the site with junk every single day. We have no idea where he found it or what half of it was. He once brought back a gigantic Donkey Kong-looking hammer, no explanation for its intended use. Another time he came back with a belt of ammunition that he had found on the road. Yeah, sure. You know, it's a war zone. People get blown up every day by improvised explosives on the side of the road, just go pick something like that up. Vic would argue with you about where your hometown is located geographically. Vic was responsible, on more than one occasion, for complete mission failure. The specifics I can't quite divulge, but rest assured he was brilliantly stupid. Vic could barely speak or write English. He was born in Florida. His ancestors came to this country a couple hundred years ago. Vic dropped a T-wall, giant concrete wall, on a tent with a front loader. Almost killed someone. Vic wore my uniform top back to his barracks, then later denied the whole thing. Vic was fired from his position twice on 2 separate deployments. Saw him a year later, he had been promoted. Edit, format. This lady at my office has freakishly good hearing and preemptively does weirdly helpful things for people. Like yesterday an intern asked one of our agents for the agent's code. Her office is at the other end of the suite, but she somehow heard, wrote down each agent and their code on a post-it and brought it to the intern's desk. If she overhears someone speaking with service ops about a specific form, she'll quietly email them a copy. Little things like that. People think it's super creepy. I only know this because it's me and I just overheard my coworkers talking about how weird I am. Edit, thanks for my first ever gold, kind stranger. And to everyone else in this thread, you all know how to make a lady feel appreciated smile. My boss leaves notes at my desk for me every so often, ranging from "you look good today" to "I ducking hate you." My personal favorite, he once wrote "love you" on a sheet on my desk then went to my coworker's cube next to mine, and I could hear him writing something. When he left, the coworker and I both asked "what did he write on your desk?" and showed each other simultaneously. His said "you, not so much." Oh man. Let me tell you about H. Where to begin? It's holiday party time, and the ice is all frozen into one big chunk. Not to worry though, H is on it. Here's a rusty hammer borrowed from one of the foresters. Don't worry about using a dirty hammer to break up something you're about to put in your drink. A little iron oxide in your soda is good for the constitution, am I right? What's that you say? A cake for someone's retirement? How nice. H will cut himself a nice big slice, then lick the frosting off the knife before putting it back with the cake. Yes, we all saw you do that, and yes, we are going to wash the knife. Hell yes, another holiday party. What is this item on the buffet? Will H like it? Better stick his fork in there to grab a piece to try while standing in line. Oh no, H has a cold. Better go gurgle some water in the kitchen sink, then spit it back out. Oops, forgot to take the sponge everyone uses to clean their dishes out of the sink first. Oh well. Better just leave it in there, it's all dirty now. Bonus time, I also work with Jay one day. A mutual coworker left a salad out on her desk because she had an errand to run during lunch. When she came back, half of the salad was gone. What's this? A note from Jay? Apparently the salad looked too good and he couldn't help himself. Schlep brings in 2 bags every day filled with his crap, like a bag man. Notebooks, clothes, food, toys, junk. He leaves little bits of paper around upon which little pieces of his little mind spill out, like, the third chair from the window. WTF does that even mean? He writes Doctor Who fanfiction and we got to read some once. Not good. Smiles and mumbles and never looks anyone in the eye. I think he's gonna kill us all someday. Try to be his best friend so he spares you. Or did Sid and now he wants to smell it. I work with a guy who is creepy as duck. He's an engineer. Having gotten my degree in engineering, I've met many like him. The socially awkward type who just doesn't get it that he's being weird. But he goes well beyond that. He's a walking, talking, living, breathing caricature. He's overweight, hunchbacked, and stereotypically unattractive. He even has a massive mole protruding on the side of his face. He hits on, inappropriately, every woman in the office whether married or not. He makes explicitly inappropriate sexual comments at the lunchroom, which is why almost no one eats lunch in the lunchroom anymore. When I lost a ton of weight, he went to great lengths to get my female coworkers to say, in front of him, that I looked hot. Hey, you think, name, looks great after all that weight loss, don't you? He brings in prepackaged food, opens it up, puts his hands all over it, then offers it to people. Even snack-sized things. Rather than put a bunch of individually wrapped snacks in a bowl, he'll open each one, touch each one, then put it in the bowl and offer it. He brings in bulk amounts of weird products, like ketchup, that are half empty. Where do you get 20 bottles of half-empty ketchup? And why would you think it's appropriate to hand those out to people you work with? He looks in people's parked cars, then comments on the items he sees inside. He took a camera around the office and tried to take candid shots of the women for an unapproved company, Kalen Dar. He is a PR nightmare. How he hasn't been fired or been the subject of a sexual harassment suit is beyond me. He does not speak a word to me or look at me or talk to me because he crossed a line and got into serious shit with HR. But the other women in my office still have to put up with him. It's awful. Guy openly declared he took the job because he expected it be nothing but ugly, fat women. He obviously meant it because he couldn't work with any of the more attractive women in the office. Constantly told one that she was too pretty to be smart. And then would switch it up by telling her how stupid she was. Constantly scoffed at anyone who offered him help and never hesitated to mention that he had a master's degree. Told me don't ducking argue with me around coworkers when I corrected him. He was wrong. Had a loud booming voice in an office where voices carry, and would stand in your office saying the most inappropriate things like I like to bang pregnant girls because they can't get pregnant. Came in one day after being a strip club all night and walking to work after his car broke down with a sunburn on one half of his body. He did not hesitate to tell everyone what had happened. A girl was stretching and had her arms extended out, and he, likely purposely, walked crotch first right into her hand and proclaimed loudly, "Stop touching my dick." Had some neurological issue which caused him to shake a bit, not Parkinson's, pretty regularly, and would compound that by downing no less than 5 cups of coffee before 10 a.m. until he was a total mess. Updated service tickets with very helpful and professional comments like "dropped in your queue like it's hot and solved this problem like a boss." When he was finally confronted about the list of transgressions, he confided, "I'm surprised it took them so long to talk to me about it." Thanks for listening to another episode of Reddit X. Subscribe and activate the notification bell so you won't miss any stories. Feel free to share your own stories below in the comments. Have a good day.